Hello, hello, hello. Wow. Hey, Amber. Hey, not so basic Brooke. I'm a little bit early. Well, okay. I was late and now I'm early of being late, I guess. Hey, Emily. Hey, Rebellious. Yo, I've been waiting for this live. I'm super pumped. Um, it's kind of chaotic at my house right now, so Amber's helping me find. Hey, Bella. Hey, cat lover. Oh, great. Amber's helped me find a better stream. Figuring out. Hey, Wolfie. The Wolfie's the one that got me onto this case. Figuring out a platform that is better for streaming with Wi-Fi, or helping me figure out what's wrong with my computer, basically, so I can stream from my actual desk and not my couch. But it is great scenery. So my house is kind of chaotic. We just got home from a night of sports, so. And I just so one quick thing, and then we'll do this. When I was a kid and I went to sports camp, right, like a week-long sports camp at a college, I think it was like I always thought it was like $200, $225. Well, my son got invited to a soccer camp, which is all right, Brawla, I'll start, which is a really his the okay, how do I say this? So he's getting going to get pulled up to a higher grade for soccer, and so his coach wants him to go to this camp. Dude, I just went to sign him up thinking, all right, 225, that's not bad. $425. However, it's at a college, it's all week, it's staying overnight, it's food and everything, and I guess a t-shirt. Is that the going rate for a sports camp now? Really, Rebellious? Holy cow. 2K? Wow. Okay, then I don't feel so bad. And my husband's kind of like, what? What are we? Yeah, wow. My husband's like, we're gonna do that, and I said, hey, when I grew up, we had no money, and my parents figured out a way to always make sure my brother and I went to camp, so we will do it. But it was just kind of, I was just like, and then their feet are always growing. I'm like, just curl your toes, you'll be fine. I get a T-shirt, right, Wolfie? Right? I was like, oh my gosh, rebellious. Okay, I'm not gonna complain. Yeah, and I mean, if you think about it, you've got a whole week with college, your foods. Like, I mean, I know it's a good deal. So, but it's just kind of like so. Anyways, so we're gonna get started here in 1 second. I'm stalling for one more second, but the Wolfie, you're right. I mean, that you just put that into total perspective with the T-shirt thing. The Wolfie, it just was like, yep, you're right. I get a T-shirt. Um, We will at some point here in the next few days go over the Uvalde. It is tournament weekend for the Parker household for the next 3 days, so we will be burnt. And it's tomorrow. Wait, yes, softball tournament, not soccer. Um, but Uvalde, the final assessment came out, and it's interesting. It's an interesting assessment. It's interesting where you can read, because this is basically everything they took off the body cam and everything, and reports. And right there, like within the first 3 minutes, it says you can hear kids screaming and crying. It's awful. It's just awful. The Wolfie, yes. What can I think of? So here we go. Part one, Missy Bevers case. Y'all, I thought that it couldn't get creepier than it already was, and it did. No matter what, it's creepy. And it is in depth, and holy cow. Hey, Kimberly. I am so it turns out one of my friends is in Texas, is friends with Christy, who is Missy's sister-in-law. So I am going to actually see if Christy would come on and do like a little interview thing, or just a little talk, which would be unbelievable, I think. Okay, Amber, when your mod leaves to go pull a tooth, we do it all over here. Um, that's, and I'm also going to see, so by far the best, if you just want to straight up like start to finish, some parts are long, even the Wolfie agreed with me. Um, you know, kind of like, here's exactly how everything, or here's what happened, and here's my perspective. Tom Webster, I'm using a few of his clips. I'm going to see if he'll interview because he's put years of research into this case. So I'm reaching out to a couple of people to. You cannot do that. Hey, Kellyanne. Okay, here we go. Without further ado, let's start. Let's begin. And I think the best way to begin is to do remember why we're here. Hey, SA. My other collaborators, I don't see them yet, so but they'll be here. Oh, Alex is traveling, and I can't remember. All right, here we go. Let's remember why we're here. Yeah, that's what I thought, Wolfie. So it's very important to really, we have to like really watch the walk, right, guys? Every part of the walk. It's creepy as heck, I know. There's plenty of different theories of why he was at the door or she at the door, that kind of stuff. Hey, Saul. Not so basic, Brooke. I know. It's creepy as heck, isn't it? Now that looks like a woman, but so SA, let me, yep, I'm gonna get there. So okay, let's remove this now. We'll let me okay, hold on. I'm really sorry. One second. I'm in a live. I've been waiting all day to do. Nana and I are getting your phone. Don't worry about it. Okay. So SA, for those who aren't fully caught up yet, I wanted to lead in with that because it's such a creepy, well, it's very creepy. That's not an AR assault. That is actually they believe it was a hammer and a pry bar. So how we're going to work in this case is we're going to, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. I'm not even joking y'all right now. I just had a heart attack. Just had a heart attack because I just took it off the screen for you guys, but not for me. So when I looked down, the police officer guy was still walking back and forth. Okay, so essay, that is the murderer in the Missy Bevers case, waiting for her to get to church. Hey, Tara, let's quickly do an overview for anybody that's not here, okay? And then we'll get into the nitty gritty of part one, which is going to be the key players, and it's going to be talking about the church and where it happened. And then next time for part two, when I get the rest of everybody else here, we're going to go into the actual when Missy met the killer and all that kind of stuff. Okay. And when I say it's wild, y'all, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. We are going to listen to in part two. We're going to, and whatever else my other team comes up here with my collaboration people, we are going to talk about her sister-in-law says, because there is some unreleased footage, right? So according to her sister-in-law, they can see Missy when she, because we haven't seen Missy walk into the church. They haven't released that. but she does. And so they say that she gets to a certain point and must hear something and look there, and then she goes off, and you never see either of them again. The whole case, I am telling you, there's not a part of this case that hasn't creeped me right the heck out. Okay, so we're going to talk about the who, what, wheres, and everything leading up to this. So Missy Bevers was a 45-year-old woman, mom of 3 kids. The Wolfie, can you verify that age for me? Because I always get her age wrong. They lived in Midlothian, Texas, which is a suburb outside of Dallas. Missy met her husband Brian in college. They got married. She was a school teacher, but she decided she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. In the last few years, Missy had begun to fall in love with fitness, and Savannah, yep, um, got into Camp Gladiator and was very successful at it. So Missy and Brian, hey Rena, it was found out later, but this is important to mention now. We're struggling finding, well, we'll wait and talk. Let's talk about, we're going to go to key suspects first, okay? Um, let's talk about just the day leading up to the murder. So Missy comments on Brian's Facebook 2 days before, which is her husband. Let's go to the suspects because I think that's going to be the easiest to start with them. I got a little slideshow. This is going to get crazy. So I will say, Tom Webster, who by far to me has the best info, a 4-hour live on it. I haven't watched all of it. I've watched bits and pieces of each thing because I don't want to watch all of it and then have that like cloud me deciding on my own, So I've watched mainly his for actual logistics that I know is fast. So thank you, Savannah. Thank you for that would be helpful to tell you. The murder took place April 18th, 2016 at, you know what, let's go over 2016. My phone is blowing up. Do they not know I'm live? So, well, I know the timeline. 3:50 a.m. is when we see, so let me go over this with you guys first, okay? 2:36, the light at the church on the outside goes off. The motion detector light goes off. Okay, they later do think that it might have been the suspect. Okay, 3:50, we see that the suspect breaks into the church waiting for Missy. We see them walk up and down the hall, all that kind of stuff. Missy comes in the church. I believe I'll have to go back to my time. She gets there about 4 a.m. She had put the night before, because it was raining really bad in Texas, that they were going to do Camp Gladiator, rain or shine, Monday morning, most likely inside. Okay, so that was on a public post on her Facebook. That morning, she goes in, 4 a.m. She's going to bring things in, which they ended up finding stuff outside. So she brought some of it in, and some of it was still left outside. So it's imagined that she probably was going back and forth. There's broken glass they said that she saw, but for some reason she kept going. And at 4:18 at 4:18 they say is when she entered the building. And then I think between that time and 4:35, when the first camper arrived, she was killed. Now, we're not going to talk too much about how, um, according to law enforcement, she died from blunt force trauma. Basically, she was beat with a hammer. There's several theories out there, but there was a handgun found next to her body, and there's also allegations that she was shot. So now there is a thing that the Wolfie showed me that said a myth, which there's no evidence that she was um, AM. Thank you. And SA, thank you for reminding me. Not everyone was here on the live the other night. So if you don't know something, please ask. So Rena, I thought that too, but there's a reason now that I have changed my opinion on that. So, well, I don't know about that, but we'll see. According to, and we'll just talk about this, according to his sister, she goes down the hall, does something in some room, goes down the hall a little bit more, and you see her head go like that, like she sees something. She walks down the other hall, and they never see either one of them again. Yes, so Camp Gladiator typically for it starts, there's classes usually at 5 a.m. And so um everything, I mean, there's nothing to me that says this was a burglary or anything. One thing that's important to mention is that in 2013, this church was robbed, but they still didn't have an alarm system. And the other interesting part, and we're going to watch Webster's, hey Nate, Webster's part describing the church because I could never put it in the way that he describes it. Um, the killer knew what door almost to go into without where the cameras weren't working. He also knew where to kill her at the dead spot of the cameras. Yeah, absolutely, Savannah. And I also wondered, well, why was he doing that for the doors? There's a couple theories on that, and we'll get into that in the next part. But basically, the main gist of why he would have done that for the doors is some people theorize that he was hate criminality, checking for like alarms, the cameras. I don't know. We really don't know. So there's theories on whether it's a man or a woman. Um, we will play the video. Who is here now? Okay, no one. We will play the video again. So there's a couple things I want to point out about this. No, well, not so basic Brooke. We don't know because we don't know who he is. But we're gonna get to that in a second. There's a couple things I want to point out about his walk. Let's go to his walk again because it's actually. Oh no! Did I click off? What was that? Hold on. We need to go to his walk really quick, guys, because it's actually important. Because I need to point out a couple things for you. So the whoops. And we won't watch the whole walk, but you do need to see this again. Hey, Sandy. Okay, so when we look at this, guys, we say, for me, in my opinion, I said, that's a woman, hands down. That's the way she's walking like she's pregnant. Is the killer, SA. Well, okay, hey, I'm unalive. Let me correct myself. The key suspect, because there's nobody else that goes in or out of the building until the first camper who finds her. So when you look at that, you would think it's a woman, but Sal Goodman, I don't think so. The problem is when it's been researched, there's actually been systems that have broken down according to Webster's thing that web sleuth guy used that actually took it all the way back to where you could see like not like an x-ray but infrared type thing that made it look like it was actually a male body. A lot of people said that it was a prosthetic leg because that's how prosthetic legs are. But when this Webster guy went and talked to a forensic podiatrist, he said that at points where you see him or the suspect breaking a window or breaking onto the door, you can see him hunched over up on top, putting all of his force like right here to break the window and whatnot. If he had a not so basic Brooke, if it was a right there. See, he's kind of, if it was a prosthetic leg, he would not be, and I didn't know this until today, he would not be able to put that type of pressure and to be hunched over. Yes. So we're gonna get to that. All right, here we go. Whoops. What did I just? No, I needed. That's all right. I'll go back to it. Okay, so let's talk about key players. All right, here we go. Key suspects. Not so basic, Brooke. Waste it. Yeah, or wait until you hear. So yes, Amber. Yes, thank you. It is tactical gear. Now, guys, there's so much to this case. So if I miss something and somebody says like, "Hey, Parker, you missed it," please tell me. Okay. So let's talk about, these are key players, but it just so happens that the key players are also the key suspects. Okay, Brandon Bevers. This is Missy's husband, college sweetheart, right? So the reasons that people were suspected of Brandon is because it became clear afterwards that, well, first of all, on March 7th, 2016, Brandon posted a news story on Facebook that the Eagles co-founder Randy Meisner's wife was shot dead over marital problems. So, or no, was shot dead. Now, it was also told that Brandon and Missy had marital problems. It came out, hey Lynn, it came out that Amber, I just looked at Amber. Missy actually had multiple affairs, not just one, like multiple, and Brandon knew about it, but it's also been alleged that they went to counseling to work it out, but no one knows that for sure, right? Um, he's remarried now. He said he handled the AV for the Cowboy Church, so that would give him knowledge of the security cameras and all of that kind of stuff, right? So, mad husband, offs his wife. He also sold the house not too long after Missy was murdered, okay? But let's talk about why Brandon is, whoops, go back. Let's talk about why Brandon is not a suspect anymore. So Brandon actually has the alibi as far as him personally doing it. Brandon's alibi was he was, I believe, I just drawn a blank to where he was. He'd had surgery and then he was somewhere on a fishing trip, Louisiana, I believe. Yeah, Savannah, I'll get one up. He was in Louisiana on a fishing trip. So he spoke with Missy the night before about 7:30, said goodnight, all that kind of stuff. Mississippi, thank you. I knew it was south, right? So we're going to get to that too, SA. Brandon is also too tall. So after they did some, they pointed out how they did it. So they basically, yeah, with all their forensic digital technology, they ended up determining that the suspect was between 5, I think it was 5'6" and 5'8" or something like that. 5'6" to 5'9", pretty short for a male, right? So we're getting there, Saul. So Brandon's on a trip for Mississippi, talks to her the night before, love you, blah, 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 blah. So he's out as far as the person that actually commits the crime. Okay. And it also is said, because people said, well, he bought it, he sold, or he paid off the mortgage within a year for $140,000. People were trying to say, well, it's for the life insurance. Well, when it was broken down, really, he said that he couldn't live there because of the girls and whatnot. And so there was a whole bunch of reasons that they dove into that actually the mortgage really was, it actually seemed like he did it because he couldn't imagine living there anymore. Um, so Brandon is too tall as well. But I mean, that was before I'm tired, but here because yes, thank you, Wolfie. Randy Bevers. Let's talk about Randy Bevers. Randy Bevers, and we are going to watch a video of him because I want you to see his walk. So Randy Bevers is the father-in-law. Yeah, around there. So Randy Bevers is the father-in-law. So let's go about why Randy Bevers was suspected. So gait apparently is what you call the walk they were doing. No, you're fine, Saul. I love you guys throwing out things. Um, is how they like the duck walk, basically. So Randy was also a suspect because they thought maybe he knew of Brian's, marital affairs. And as a dad, you kind of ticked off at your daughter-in-law, whatever. Um, but here's the kicker. He brought a female bloody shirt into the dry cleaner shortly after. I'm going to look up his walk. Shortly after Missy's death. Now, here's the problem. We're going to look at his. Yeah, so when he brought that shirt in, he claimed it was canine blood. So, they went ahead, law enforcement got a warrant for his shirt, took it. It did actually, in fact, come back to be canine blood. But before that, this is another reason that they suspected that it possibly could be him. And I will show you right now, right here. Let me get this big. It might seem like there's some clicking around, but you pretty much have to get everything in this. See his walk? So, yeah, no, he had an injury. The dog was good. So, you can see the walk. He was a really large suspect, and many people, including on social media, blamed him heavily. Now, here's why it can't be him. Old dad was in California with grandma on an RV trip camping. So that eliminated him. And then as well, the shirt came back with the blood, came back to be canine blood. And also, he had a certain spinal infusion or some sort of spinal issue at the top that was actually verified by a doctor, not just, that he wouldn't have been able to have the strength to bend in the way that he needed to bend to get some of those doors open with the force that needed. Hey, Carrie, Texas! With the force that it took to actually break some of the windows. Yeah, so well, he was pretty much eliminated between that and then that it was actually canine blood, and the fact that like they said doctors confirmed he wouldn't have had the strength to do all of that. But hey, we still don't know who's caught. So on to the next suspect that now has eliminated. So law enforcement now eliminated grandpa and husband. Yeah, so do I, Wolfie. All right, on to the next suspect. Next suspect. This came from Tom Webster's research as well. So the LinkedIn guy, CW. So CW was a relationship that they found on LinkedIn that they were having. This CW, we're calling him CW. I've got to look at the actual names. Um, was having a flirtatious relationship with Missy over LinkedIn. Okay, so that was confirmed based on the warrants of her phone and her, social media and all of that kind of stuff. It was Caddy, Texas. So I'm trying to Caddy, Texas. I was saying to watch bits and pieces because I just don't want it to taint my judgment right now. But I mean, he's on point with everything. Yeah, this is not, thank you, the Wolfie. This is not the creepy LinkedIn message person. Okay, this is actually they like each other, yada, yada, yada. Here's the reasons that he was also suspected. He's 5'8". He was a U.S. Army anti-terrorist task force. So that's similar gear. to what the tactical gear. He has an experience with MMA fighting. Uh, they found that he was romantic. Online sleuth said on Twitter he posted a photo on April 19th, which is his first photo since February 1st, 2013. It was also said that they had found, the online sleuths found that he had had a foot injury shortly before, which could attest for a limp. Now I will say though, but they had eliminated him. I don't think I have the reasons that they eliminated him, so I'm just gonna go back. So part of why they eliminated him was he had an airtight alibi. Well, if you remember, remind me of this guy. What his alibi was? It was something about an airtight alibi, and that like the next month he was having an MMA, and that it was flirtatious, but they've never actually even met, and that kind of thing. So he was pretty much eliminated shortly after they initially looked into him. Right, Savannah. There wasn't a huge motive with him because, right, essay. So there wasn't a huge motive for him either because they really hadn't met, right? They had only been LinkedIn, and it said they communicated and sometimes were flirtatious. All right, moving on. We have Casey. So Casey, I've got to go to my real quick. Let me go to my notes so I can get their name for certain. They don't actually give you a name, but this is who they refer to in what we have of like a discovery type thing as K cosine. So this was actually a confirmed, yeah, either do I, the Wolfie, but I know he was pretty quickly like booted out. So Saul, we're going to get to that, but at a later date, because the reason that people think they haven't made an actual arrest yet is because people are wondering if there's DNA that we don't know about. Do you, Wolfie? Okay, all I have here is this is K cosine. So this was a confirmed affair that Brandon actually knew about. He's the one that told law enforcement of the affair that this K cosine had with Missy approximately a year prior. And KC filed for divorce 7 months after the murder. Exactly, essay. Yeah, Wolfie, that's probably better. Exactly, criminality. So the reasons this could not be him was there wasn't many that Tom came up with other than it had been 6 years and the police haven't arrested him. And so, and if the ex-wife knew he did it, why would she protect him? He filed for divorce 7 months after. So people said, well, maybe it was the wife, but they checked them both out and it wasn't them. So now let's go to the next suspects. And you have to know who these players are in order to continue, and I'll tell you why. Because they're mentioned throughout. And so when I'm like, oh, hey, well, remember this and this and this, she did this with that, you got to know who I'm talking about. So AT and CT, they're A Tucker and C Tucker. Okay, so this was a fellow trainer and a trainer's wife um, of Camp Gladiator. Now, they had just been together the week before at a event like a Camp Gladiator training in Austin. The reasons they thought it was because he was at the same work event as Missy the days before her murder and was photographed with Missy and another male trainer. His business, they said, might not have done as well as hers. And he had a self-defense background and he had a self-defense business on the side. And his kids were on a 4-day weekend that weekend, and they believe that they were it is alleged that they were at the grandparents that weekend of the 15th through the 8th. Wow, hold on. 15th. What is happening? 15th, there we go. 15th through the 18th. Brandon's sister and mother-in-law have insinuated the killer was a woman with several children. That's what we're going to go to. So there's crutches in a photo of September 28, 2014. So they thought, well, did he hurt his foot? Well, it's actually alleged that the trainer's wife had hurt her foot at some point and may have had a limp. So let's go on. There's been no official proof that Missy was cheating with AT, but two other men in warrants were named as having exchanged flirtatious messages and an affair. Missy. So, a reason CT, the trainer's wife, might have to kill Missy would be the fact that she was sleeping with her husband, or she was jealous of her size and whatnot. There could have been a lot of different things, but they searched their internet history. I mean, nothing came up of Missy. They didn't find any weapons. They had alibis. Everything, they pretty much crossed them off the list. So they were off the list. And none of these, let's be clear. None of these alibis and stuff. So police have crossed them off the list at this point. Okay, so but now let's go to who first. Let's talk about, so few days before the murder, Wolfie, remind me, a few days before the murder, I don't have him up here. The Wolfie just reminded me. Missy got a very, very creepy, and it hasn't been released, but a very creepy, scary LinkedIn message that actually she was in a lot of fear and told her friends about from somebody online. I don't know who that is, and I don't think the Wolfie knows who it is, and I don't think they have ever said publicly who it is, but it seemed to be somebody she was really afraid of, like really afraid. And you're right, the Wolfie, CT and Randy have been kind of very much accused. Randy kind of came out of the limelight when these other people started to come, get thrown into the limelight. Um, Bobby Wayne Henry. I say that because this dude, man, this dude. Bobby Wayne Henry is probably the biggest suspect out there that, yeah, the Wolfie. You're right. Bobby, in my book, was probably the biggest suspect. I think so. What I'm wondering, though, y'all, is, and Wolfie, get my opinion. Sometimes I wonder if that person tried to set him up, Bobby, like if they knew Bobby. Because you're going to end up hearing that there was some very good reasons that say, oh, this person knew the church backwards and forwards. But interestingly enough, it would seem that the suspect didn't know the sanctuary that well, which would mean he or she was probably somebody that visited the church, but on the outskirts of the church, or say a security guard might not, who might do a security at an event or something like that. So let's talk about Bobby Wayne Henry. Bobby Wayne Henry. Old Bobby Boy was a licensed security guard. Here's some of the key factors. He was a licensed security guard. He volunteered for security duty for Missy's funeral. He does walk with a gait, and we're going to show that. And he has passed arrests not once but twice for aggravated sexual assault. In fact, he was fired from being a security guard. at for the reason of aggravated sexual assault. So, but let's go to the reason that Bobby Boy, and trust me, so they actually did hold Bobby for a total of about 48 hours, and then he had to be let go. They did search his entire house, and like you would imagine, guys, they found tactical gear. I mean, I wouldn't say tactical gear, but I'm just going to look up. I want to be completely accurate, right? If we're going to do a deep dive, let this be 100% accurate of what they found at his house. I got to go down to I just had it up, and then we'll look at his walk. Okay, so here's what they ended up finding at old Bobby Boy's house. It's pretty crazy. Well, so the part of why they eliminated. You know, Lynn, that's a great question. Yes, he was ex law enforcement. Thank you, the Wolfie. He got fired being law enforcement for the aggravated sexual assaults allegation. Um, Part of why they did eliminate Bobby was one, he had an alibi that he was apparently in Waxahachie. I never say that right. You and I lived there. Waxahachie with his wife and his baby, feeding his baby. He made sure to include that part. His wife allegedly confirmed that alibi, but I mean, she could easily lie for him. Okay. But he's also said to be about 6 foot tall, and which with the helmet on, it probably said it would have said he would have made him more like 6'1". So the height didn't match up for that either. But I want to show you his walk, okay? And now I'm going to show you what they found at his house. Whoops, too soon, too soon. Okay, this is pretty wild, you guys. Waxahachie. I always say it, Waxahachie. All right. You're right. Thank you, Wolfie. I'm so glad Wolfie's helped me with this. Like I'm saying, guys, there is so much to this case. It's so easy. Don't let me forget that, Wolfie. Just bear with this little intro here. No, I need you to, because I get so like, yeah, he woke up at about 3 a.m. Convenient, right? Remember? They went in about that time?
All right, so let's, we briefly touched upon the other
Look at his walk.
POI. Basically, there's two main POIs. The father-in-law,
That's
Randy,
pretty freaking close.
and this other guy, Bobby Wayne Henry. Security guard, former cop, former military, happens to have the same type of limp. The problem is he's supposedly too tall. And supposedly there might have been an alibi. So it obviously on video you can do certain things to make yourself look taller, platform shoes, whatever, or whatever, helmets. But to make yourself look shorter, is that's a little bit more problematic. Yeah. So let's look at this post here. Also, Unresolved Mysteries, new SUV for POI cited in the Missy Bevers case. Also, no, this is 4 years ago. So this is a podcast by Gumshoe Stories. They mentioned this, as well as search warrants, court documents.
Wendy,
so Bobby Wayne Henry, former cop, former military.
So let me tell you, so I can just tell you that part. Okay, so we saw his walk, right? That's pretty shady. The height is a downfall for sure, because as she said, it's easy to make yourself look taller, super hard to make yourself look shorter. I will say that. So, the thing I want you guys to hear is because, so Bobby, so it was alleged that there was a blue or an SUV, a dark colored SUV, it says, coming out of the church shortly after. If remind me, Wolfie, make sure I'm correct in this. It was shortly after the murder would have taken place. Okay. Bobby has a dark SUV. I believe it was like a Honda or something like that. Dark colored SUV, yeah. So Amber, the height difference was they're figuring it leaving the scene after. Thank you, the Wolfie. So what they're figuring is the suspects between 5'6" and 5'9" or something like that, and that they say that douche canoe here, I gotta get that out of my head, is 6 foot tall with a helmet on and be closer to 6'1". So that does. And he does have an alibi. Exactly, Savannah. Again, his motive, but he has been charged 2 or 3 times for aggravated sexual assault and violent crimes. He did volunteer to be a security guard at her funeral. Right. So that's the other thing. That's the other thing, Saul, too, is they said that it almost looked like somebody had some sort of gear on the tactical vest to make them look a little bit bigger. Well, as you can tell, old Bobby Boy has enough to make him look bigger. So that was part of the other reason that they didn't think that it was him. But again, so he had an alibi, but if you caught what Wolfie said in there, he suddenly woke up at 3 a.m. to feed his child. Okay. Convenient, Bobby. Very convenient. Exactly, Sal. Exactly. Okay. So that is all the suspects that we know of right now, including the creepy LinkedIn message. And I think it's the creepy LinkedIn message. The one thing that is apparent, and this is no slam to Missy, because it has been alleged too that Brian had an affair as well, had affairs as well, and Missy had several relationships, several. Um, in defense of her, we can't prove that because she's not here. I mean, we can prove what they tell us. Oh, don't give me, but she's not here to defend herself, so I don't want to rest there too long. But with that being said, there's some crazy females out there that, or, could it be possible that Brandon was having an affair and Brandon had a scorned lover that was upset and she wanted wife gone? Um, in my book, I don't think the husband did it. So people were saying he wasn't upset enough, right? So this is what we hear is that he wasn't upset enough. But then Webster said there's actually many times that he was like weeping or crying, and that he was very distraught. It would seem that they were trying to make amends, and right now it does show that for the most part. Oh, hey, don't be harsh like that. I get what you're saying, but so yeah, because like all these people that say they had a relationship, like we can't totally, you know, I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. It was a very personal. You'll never convince me, I don't think, unless somebody comes forward and says I was trying to rob the church, that this wasn't personal. Okay? So let's just look at the church right now because it's important to understand where the crime took place. But like I said, there's nobody better to do this than the Tom Webster's version of the church because he breaks it down. And I'll give him all the credit and but yeah, hold on one second, let me get it up. Yeah, and maybe she was, but at the end of the day, it was just a terrible. All right. This guy has the driest sense of humor ever. He's hilarious. So we probably won't watch all of it, but I want you guys to get. Oh, I always do that too soon. Yeah, so you know what? We don't know either, guys. We don't know. You know what, Lynn? That's actually a very good way to put it because we truly don't know. I'm going to tell you something about Texas, okay? I'm going to tell you something about Texas. So, and Caddy, Texas, you might be able to back me up. I don't know. But there is an area of Texas that is a wealthy area in a suburb of Dallas where I had friends that lived. I was not a part of this, disclaimer right now, but it was very openly known and confirmed that they were. Wendy, is this like at there? Oh, bye, Saul. Come back soon. What is that word? Okay, swingers. Like, there's an area. Yeah, Wendy, thank you. Yes, where it's known that, like, oh yeah, they are in that neighborhood. And hey, to each their own. But this might have been really, we don't know. Um, she's not here. But here we go. Now, this might seem kind of like, but I really need you guys to focus on this because you have to understand the layout of this church and where things happen. I believe to truly understand that it was like a crime of passion and that Caddy Texas, yeah, it's not where she lives. I'm just telling you that to understand that there was certain things that almost eliminate this from being just a robbery.
Before I review the video of the killer inside the church. So there's the address up there. So it's located in Midlothian, Texas, off of Highway 287. I used the Internet Wayback Machine, and there were two different websites. It seems like they changed pastors at one point, and they went to a new location also. So I found a screen capture of their old website from October 2006
Oh, thank
that
you,
said they
Wendy.
were located in DeSoto, Texas, but soon would relocate to Highway
Thanks, the
287
Wolfie.
between
It's hard to remember
Midlothian
everything.
and however you pronounce this word, Waxahachie.
See,
The
he doesn't know how to
commenters
say it
might
either.
be complaining. So the website creekside-church.com, apparently in 2004, was the website for a church in New York between 2004 and 2013. And the church where Missy was killed took over that domain in 2019. Before I
Okay,
get into more details, I'll give the tour now.
Thank you.
So for anybody who downloads my files, I had to rename them for this tour so they would go in order. And the best way to do that is to do it numerically. So you
This
might be
guy's
kind of
great. He's
confused at
not
some of
going to
these file
strike
names,
me.
but just realize I had to edit
He's
some of these
super.
file names to get my tour files to go in order. So here's the church
Thank
over
you,
here.
SA.
So on the left here is 287 North. This is going 287 South. In some of my other sections, I reference this median where the killer could have come out after they tested an alarm and just sat out here waiting
Just
to see
don't
if any
tune out,
cops
even if
came.
you've seen it. I've
Or
watched
law
this 3
enforcement, sorry.
times, and I come up with
This is
something
another view from the highway.
different every
So
day.
it's unlikely the killer would have parked in this section here. This is Google Maps, and it shows that Creekside Church is approximately 30 to 40 minutes from Dallas. Here's Arlington and Fort Worth are the other larger cities in the area. So for the exterior, we're going to go from west, north, east, south. Down here is the southwest awning where Missy parked her truck. This is another main entrance here at the
Okay,
west.
so she parks her
There was
truck
some
over
news
on the
footage on the
southwest.
day of the murder that got this aerial footage. So just again, this is west, north, east, south, southwest down here. Down here is the kitchen door where they broke in. Down here is the northeast where there was some damage, but the helicopter footage cropped that out. This is a view from east to west showing the highway. This is the northwest parking lot. In the distance, you can see SWFA gun store. This is a night view. This is a rare view showing what the skyline looks like. And this is the southwest area where Missy's truck is. And
See
this
her
is a
truck
police
right there,
vehicle.
guys?
So at the entrance, you can see there's a sign that says, "Notice, this property is protected by video surveillance." And here is the camera pointing towards the entrance. That's a close-up of the camera, which was not working. But as you can see from the entrance, I think this is the sign here. So if the killer is the person in the Altima and they turned off their lights at the SWFA, did they also turn off their lights here and they never saw this?
1 second. We'll talk about the Ultima again. Do you essay? So one thing I want to mention, guys, is remember we talked about the suspect we think had to be somebody that knew the church, right? So I say that because there was a sign that said cameras present, right? Well, whoever it was knew to park where the cameras were broken, allegedly. Wait, now I gotta take my face back off the screen again. There we go.
Or they never saw this camera also. This is a video at night entering the church. It was done by Gumshoe Stories channel on YouTube. Just a closer view of the front sign. And you can see it kind of slopes down, and this is the property across the street. This was a video, I believe, done by Trisha from Web Sleuths. This is the sign at the front, which shows parking is on all sides. The worship center, aka the sanctuary or auditorium, some people call it. The offices are to the right, as well as preschool, and teens are in the back, smoking. These are the west doors after the murder. You can see they put up police tape so people would not enter. Later on, I'll talk why did they put that here instead of the southwest or northwest areas. This is a comparison I did between the different door types between the west front entrance and the southwest where Missy entered has this different kind of lock, which I'll
See?
talk about later.
Yep,
This is
different
from a
lock.
video from Gumshoe Stories. Looking in the west entrance, this is Cub Corner. He asked if this was a good place to hide for the killer to surprise Missy. I used a photo editor to lighten this up because it was kind of dark. So at night, it's very dark in here. This is a sidewalk on the west side. So here's the kitchen. This is actually a screen capture from Inside Edition, and this is Bobby Wayne Henry, who was one of the suspects at a time, but he was later cleared. This is the northwest entrance. This is looking in from the exterior doors at the northwest entrance inside. This sign says restrooms are down to the
He's going to
left in the
explain why this
northeast
is
corner.
important.
Down here is the southwest entrance where Missy entered. Just another view of the northwest. This is the kitchen door. This is inside the kitchen door, which goes into room 7. You can see that the exterior handle came off. I'll talk more about that later. There was a lot of damage to it. This is still the kitchen door, and you can see they tried to take off the screen. I'm pretty sure this is a replacement and that police maybe analyzed the original. This is the broken glass from that door. This is the kitchen window boarded up. This is them just replacing it. This is a close-up of the glass on the floor outside the kitchen door. Now we're going to the northeast section. As you can see, there's a parking area back here where the killer probably parked. This is the northeast steps. There are 2 sets of doors here also. It has this type of lock, and this is the north hall here. And that's a piece of furniture in the northwest hall. This is just another view looking in. I'm pretty sure this is from Crime Broad's video. So if you walked in, on the right here are restrooms. On the left would be room 10 where the killer came out of. And on the right is room 9 where they were hammering at the end of the video. And here is room 8 where they first exited on the video at 3:50 a.m. These are the doors boarded up. Obviously, they both had damage from the killer. Down here, there are 2 different footprints, but I'm not sure that those are from the killer. It seems more likely that it was from somebody who did this work. This is a night view of the northeast entrance. This is the southeast entrance. And as far as I saw, there's no damage to these doors. So these are the southeast doors here, and then there's another door to the left. I'm not sure what this sign says here. So now we're at the southwest entrance where Missy entered. The campers gathered around here. Here is the external camera. You can see it's kind of pointed down in this area. So probably doesn't have a wide view. Here's another shot of the camera pointing down, and another shot with the camera pointing down, and another shot with the camera pointing down. So this is what it would look like when Missy and other people would arrive in the dark. This is looking in from outside. This is a news report, and at one point I thought maybe this was some broken glass here, but it looks like it could be the cross that is attached to the wall in this area. This is a view of the church from SWFA, and this is where the Ultima parked. This is also from SWFA pointing at the church during the daytime. So you can see the back
We'll
parking
talk
lot
about
is somewhat visible here,
SWFA
and this is the
later.
night view. So I would imagine any car that would be driving back here, even if their headlights were off, their brake lights would show up at some point. So that's the end of the exterior tour. To start off the tour of the interior of the church,
Yep,
I believe this
Wolfie.
was from Facebook, which showed some of the room numbers and what they were for, but some of these may have changed over the years because this was kind of old. Some people who have looked into the case have come up with different maps of the church. A YouTube user with the name Dr. Tuttle went to the church and came up with this list of the rooms, and then they used a program to come up with this map. So this was very helpful, and you can see they added cameras with the different timestamps and various other helpful information, but it was kind of hard to read, and going back and forth between the list of the rooms and trying to figure out what is what was kind of confusing. So I updated it to this to try and make it a little bit more easier to read. This is part of the files that I uploaded to my site. So if you want to download this to read it easier, go on with your bad self. So for this interior tour, we're going to start where the killer broke in the north kitchen. So once they broke through the
Okay,
outside, this was
listen.
the door that they came in. As you can see on the left here, there's a bin, and on the right, it looks like there's maybe some kind of dolly or something. So I believe that is this door here. You can see there's some kind of closet, which I think has a window back here, which had the broken screen. On the left, it is a door to room 6, because if you go here, I lightened this up and it looks like there's a door handle here. So room 7 is also called the kitchen, and there are 2 doors to it, and here is one of the doors.
I know
Here's
the
one of these
Wolfie.
sliding things to serve food to hungry children. This is the second door to room 7. Now we're going toward, this is facing the east. On here is room 8, which is also called Coconut Cafe sometimes.
So this is
This
the
is a better view
northeast,
of room
guys.
8. So here's this thing when it's pushed down. Here's the door. So here's the door between 7 and 8. And this is back facing the north. Here's a little another closet here. So this is the first view of the killer. So here's one door to room 8, and the second door to room 8 is where they first come out of. So they broke into the kitchen, used the interior door to come into 8, and then they peeked out here, and then they went in the northwest direction. So this is the northeast. So around here is the first door to room 8 where they came out. Here's the second door to room 8. The restrooms are on the left. This is the northeast entrance, and right here is the room 9 and 10. These are the restrooms in the northeast, another northeast view. As you can see up here is a camera. This one goes down to the southeast direction. And I don't know if this is one here or up in here is kind of blurry going to the northwest direction. So this is the one that captured them coming out of room 10. to break the window and the door to room
It's
9
funny,
at
Lynn,
the
you
end of
had
the
to
video.
approve a
So as you come
compliment.
down the hall from the northeast to the northwest, here is the second door to room 7. There you can see it says 7. So this is a long view. The
Okay,
northeast,
so that's where
room
he
8,
came in,
room
guys, was the
7,
kitchen
also
where he
known as the
initially
kitchen.
broke in.
And these are some doors that go up into the sanctuary.
The
These are screen
northeast.
captures from a video uploaded by Gumshoe Stories, so I suggest you check out his YouTube channel and website. Some of them are blurry, but I tried to get the best view I could.
Thanks,
So
Brooke.
this is the door to room 6 on the right, and on the left you can kind of see outside is where the northwest entrance is. Those are the room 6 doors. The northwest entrance, more of the northwest entrance. I think this is an aquarium or fish tank over here.
And keep
This
in
is room
mind,
5, which I'll get to later.
the
Here's some
camera
kind of
was broke
furniture here, and here's
on
room
the
5
outside.
again. More of the furniture. On the left is door 4. This is room 4. So here's 5, the furniture, 4, and then room 3. And on the left here is the little inset area. That gives a better view of that. There's a little place to sit. Again, room 3.
Wendy, yes.
So this is the indented area here. This is room 3, which is also called Kelsey's place. And on the left here are the west doors to enter. I wanted to show this picture from Facebook from a few years before the murder because it's facing in the northwest direction. And above this woman's head, you can see there is some kind of thing here, which is probably a glass case, which may have been broken in the struggle between Missy and the killer. But I was
Oh.
unable to find any photo that showed it better. Up here it says worship center. Here's a different view of Kelsey's place. So here's the west main entrance. Over here is room 2, also called Cub Corner, and here's another indented area here. So when you walk in the west entrance, this is what you see on the wall. These are from 2012. You'll notice here there is a camera, but this is from after the murder, and they put it in, obviously, to get more coverage. This is from March 2015, a year before Missy's murder, and there is no camera on this wall. So from the
Wow.
northwest, here is the middle west entrance foyer facing the southwest entrance. So Missy came up this hallway. This is just a better view to show how much space there is in case somebody wanted to hide here. As we come further southwest, here are some bulletin boards. So after the killer was seen on video at 3:50 a.m., they walked northwest and none of that was captured until they got to this spot outside of room 2 here, and room 1 is here. On the opposite side, there are doors to the sanctuary, and up here says holy grounds, which you can see better here, which I think they serve some coffee here or something. These are some of Missy's campers from January 2016. I'm not sure if this is in the southwest or the northwest because this says worship center. And I know that the northwest entrance into the sanctuary does say this, but I'm not sure if the southwest does also. This is a view exiting the sanctuary. You see room 2 here. 1 is to the left. Like I said, this video is from Tim Koval's Gumshoe Stories channel. So he went through the entire video on one of his broadcasts. So on the right here would be room 1, and here's the ladies' room. You can see there's a large clock. Under the clock is a water fountain, the men's room, the southwest entrance. Up here is a camera facing northwest. Up here is a camera facing southeast. Not that it's of any importance, but in case you come across this photo of the southwest entrance, in 2012, it looks like they did not have these extra window panes, which they added, I guess, at a certain point later. This is a view from the southwest entrance looking inside. And like I said in my exterior tour, this is the cross on the wall that may have appeared to be broken glass, but it's actually the cross. This is
Southwest is
after the
where she
murder,
came
so there
in.
is some kind of object down here. I don't know if they replaced a glass case or not. So this view has a timestamp of 3:58 a.m. It's kind of hard to see what's going on down here about any glass case. This was a sign up for some kind of charity or something. This door is apparently a storage closet or something because it's very small. I don't know why they didn't try to go in it. So this is facing from southwest to southeast. The killer came over to room 21, which is the Dutch door. So room 21 Dutch door is on the right here. 20, 19, 18, 17. I don't know what the U is, utility closet. I did not add these numbers, so I'm not sure what this means. Here's 16, and at the end is 15. And then at the end is southeast. It looks like there might be 2 cameras up here, which they added after the murders. Just another view with the doors open. Here's the view from inside the sanctuary looking out to the southwest entrance and across the hall to room 21 Dutch door. This says church offices with an arrow pointed down that way. This is the Dutch door 21. That's a view looking inside room 21. So this is looking down the southwest. So this is 21, 20, 19, 18, and 17. Here's 20, 19.
Oh,
This
wow,
is looking in
Caddy,
19.
Texas.
It's just some offices, it looks like. So there's 18, and on the left, you can barely see room 17. I did not write this here, and I don't remember where I got this photo. Sorry. I try to give credit when I can, but I have so many files, I could not write down where I got everything. This is kind of at an angle for the southeast entrance to the auditorium or the sanctuary. So this would be 17 here, 16, 15. This is an interior view. So at the southeast corner, it seems like there's an interior hall to get to these different offices. So I believe this is 17, but I'm not sure. So you come in here on the left,
You
you can
got
see
it,
there's an
Wolfie.
office here. That's a better view to the left of that office. As we're going left, again, here's that office. Here's some kind of case. Even going further on the left, there's an open door into this office here. This is from a video from 2012. And this is a video from 2012 from the previous pastor's YouTube channel, showing they had computers, a printer, and some other stuff that somebody could have stolen. This is a different map created by somebody on Web Sleuths. I believe their name was Jethro4WS. So they tried to create a better idea of what these interior offices look like, but I'm not sure that this is 100% correct. This is the view from the northeast,
Not sure
going
about
down
that
to the
yet,
southeast. On the left here
essay.
is room 10. On the right is room 9, where they tried to break in. I believe room 10 has 2 doors. This is the one in the northeast, and I don't know if this is room 10 or 11 down here. So after they broke the window in room 9, they came back down the hall and back down to go into the sanctuary. And this is a view of those doors. Once you get inside, this is what it looks like. I think this might be a light switch over here. Here's a different view of what that looks like. And just a friendly tip to anybody who takes video with your camera. When you hold your camera vertically, this is what it looks like. And you don't have all this space on the sides, which is frankly kind of frustrating. So you want to turn your camera horizontal so it has more of like a wide view. So again, here's the Southwest Sanctuary door. This would go out to room 2 and 1 here. Here's a different view across from the Dutch doors. And like I said, just out into room 2 and 1. This is a sound area. Here's the sound area. And this is the exit to the northwest hall. And further on the right here is the entrance to the north hall. And here's the kitchen. This is just a different view of the stage. And this is the entrance at the southeast that I was talking about. This is the southeast entrance here. Some people were trying to figure out the dimensions of the floor tiles. So somebody took these photos with a tape measure. I think this might be Gumshoe Stories, but I'm not sure. I don't think those are his feet. So it seems to show 30 inches of the tiles. These are just a few other pictures of some interior rooms. I'm not sure exactly which ones they are. And that's the end of the interior tour. Here's just an overview of the security cameras in the church. There were 4 in 2016. There were 2 at the northeast corner. One was facing the northwest, which is the first camera angle of the killer touching the wall after they exited room 9. One was facing the southeast, which is the end of the police video where they're hammering at room 9 doors window. There's 2 at the southwest corner. One is facing the northwest, which is the camera angle of the failed pry bar to open room 1. And one is facing southeast, which is the camera angle showing the Dutch door at room 21. The northwest and southeast corners did not have any cameras at the time, but I believe they installed them after. The cameras record upon motion detection, so the range to detect motion is only about halfway down the hall. The exterior cameras, one was outside of the southwest awning entrance, and that was working. The 2019 Google warrant referenced that it captured campers waiting outside. And there's one outside the northwest wall facing the highway, but it was not working. In one of Gumshoe Stories videos, he said the outside camera facing the entrance stopped working 2 weeks before the murder. It was a recurring problem that needed someone to get on a ladder and press a reset button. The church knew it stopped working, but was short-staffed and didn't reset it before Missy's murder. So I wondered who knew that it wasn't working. I would imagine everyone at the church tried to think of people who worked or attended the church who matched the killer's walk and gait. Or did somebody overhear that the outside camera was not working and they assumed that that meant that all of the cameras inside the church were also not functioning, so they could walk around and do whatever they want without being captured on video? Before police released a description of the killer's height, some users online tried to figure it out based on the door height, and it appears that those doors are 84 inches tall. This is my notes document on the church. So on Web Sleuth, somebody mentioned that they went to the church and they measured it and it was 84 inches, not 80. You can read their description of how they did it. They basically went into the church and extended their arm up above the door. And then after they left the church, they used a tape measurer to see where it matched up, and it was 84 inches. They also said that the ceiling was much higher than they expected. No hallways were under 9 feet. Some were over 10 feet. Gumshoe created this description of the doors showing which ones were inward opening or outward opening. He also said that room 9 had storage items, which included folding tables, probably chairs, and other miscellaneous items, and that door was obviously locked, which is why they hammered it. If you're interested in learning more about how Jethro4WS figured out the map, I copied and pasted all of their explanation into this Word document I have for Creekside Church. Before I get into the video of the killer inside the church, I want to review what they're wearing because a lot of time seem to have gone into this outfit.
Okay. So that is, hey Jameson, so that is a huge breakdown of the church. I know it's kind of long and drawn out, but it's actually very important to know all of it because based on where the cameras were placed and whatnot, I'm trying to find. So authorities say, so the person, Amber, to answer your question, was between 5'2" and 5'7". We couldn't figure out what that was before. So one thing that Wolfie pointed out was that I forgot to mention was that the camper that arrived at 4:35, I believe, was also it was their first time coming there. So they didn't know to go in or whatnot. Like, so they ended up calling a friend, and when they called and they said she's not here, yada yada yada, or what do I do? And they said, well, if you are it's okay, Jameson, you can go back. After this, they said, if you are, she's there. If her truck's there, she's there. Okay, so they went in, and that's when this camper discovered Missy's body. Nope, no one was supposed to be at the church, Brooke, except for so the Camp Gladiator was always at the church at 5 a.m. It was typically outside, but when it was raining, because Camp Gladiator has a policy, rain or shine, they never cancel. So when it rains, they go inside. Yep, exactly, the Wolfie. So, Wolfie, I can't find it. Can you remind me where did in the church was it northeast that she was killed? So when we talk about next, so part two, when we talk about when we talk about no, Wolfie, I need you to remind me when we talk about Missy's next up is gonna be awesome. We're gonna talk about Missy's actual encounter, and hopefully my collaborators will be here. Missy's actual we're not done yet, Kellyanne. Um Run in with a killer. So this is really cool. So I will say that they ended up uncovering that the killer had multiple different tools, a hammer, a pry bar. Um Tom Tom Webster seems to think that they actually had a couple different cameras. That's never actually been said. Um, but in front of the spot she had the class. Okay, so it was not though in the Southwest or any place that a camera would have picked up. So you see the killer go to wherever they go before. The killer also. So I don't know if there was a the sanctuary. Okay, I don't know if this was the suspect trying to taunt knowing that they were on camera or if they were trying to make it seem like it was a burglary or what, but they did break tons of windows and caused a lot of damage. Uh, but they said that it was interesting based on the video because Missy walks in. We didn't get to see this, right? Because it's not been released, which is also interesting too because Shanann Watts' video was released of her coming in the house. But anyways, we don't get to see her walking. We haven't seen that video. Um, it says that they are surprised because she should have seen some broken glass, but she still walked. According to her sister-in-law, she kept walking, and they say that she stopped almost to be like she was like she might have heard something, but then she just kept going, and they're not sure why she just kept going. It's important to mention too that part of the reason people are saying that it had to have been somebody that probably not like a Bobby Wayne Henry and not the father-in-law because Missy, you have to remember, was super fit. I mean, if you've seen pictures of her, she had taken a self-defense class and all of that kind of stuff. So she would have really put up a fight, most likely, if for in fact she wasn't shot. Um, so for some reason she goes to that end where the killer is. And we're gonna really dive into that point where they meet, what her autopsy says. What one thing I forgot to mention, I forgot to show you, and I'll show you next time, is there was a Nissan Altima. So when they talk about SWFA, they're talking about Wolfie, it's a gun shop, right? Or something across the way. It's like diagonal. They showed you it here in the church video. And there is a Nissan, they said it was a Nissan Altima, and around 1 a.m. it said it's just like circling nonstop. And we'll look at images next time of this Nissan. They have a strong feeling, at least we've been led to believe by investigators, that the Nissan could be the suspect. The interview room guy, Chris, whatever his name is, does not believe that's the case. He said the Nissan was at the SWFA for different reasons. I haven't watched that live yet. She does have puncture wounds. Yes, she had puncture wounds to the chest and the head, and all else is speculation. Because there's rumors going on that the suspect tried to, this is a rumor, none of this has been proving, that the suspect had tried to dig the bullet out so that the bullet wasn't left there. Again, rumor. Okay, other than the fact that we do know that they say puncture wounds to chest and head. So yes, when the Nissan Altima was driving around the SWFA, it continually shut the lights, turned the lights on, and turned the lights off. It is very bizarre and actually pretty chilling to watch, and we will watch that. And we need to dive into, because there is the CSI report. Yes, thank you, Wolfie. Thank you. So the gun was hers. The gun that, okay, thank you. She had a Texas open carry state, right? So she carried a gun everywhere where she went. She did not have it with her when she went inside. I don't know if that's because it was a church or what, but she didn't have it. They found it in her car. The other part, though, is that when they're out, so when Missy's outside, all the campers knew that Missy kept the gun under a cone when she was out there. So for whatever reason, she didn't take it in with her that morning, which is absolutely crazy because even when she's outside, she still keeps it underneath the cone. Yeah. So one thing that you do see investigators, yeah, Jameson, that's what I'm wondering too. If she didn't take it in just out of respect, because that is the rules, you're not supposed to have them in churches. Um, Again, is that why the suspect chose the rainy morning that they knew she'd be inside? Because remember, the suspect knew they'd be inside because she put that on her Facebook publicly the night before. And I would say in this case, it's somebody that had been, yeah, the Wolfie, it's somebody who's clearly been following her, would know her pattern, would know her time, and the timing that she gets there as opposed to when the first campers get there. Um, they also would have known probably that Brian was out of town. Um, just a whole bunch of things that would have had to, again, we saw a sign that says cameras everywhere. Okay, so the suspect just happens to know the one entrance that he could break into or she could break into that there is no camera working, that the camera isn't working in that section. Uh, it's quite bizarre. I also, I don't know, Wolfie, what's your opinion on this? Somebody said lookout person. I'm not 100% sure that there's not two people, right? We know that there's not two people in the church because there'd be video of that. But with somebody outside, I mean, we literally have no idea where the suspect went after the murder or, hey, Pamela, or anything. Now, it's been alleged that there is footage of uh, the killer, the suspect leaving, but that's clearly not the case, or they would know exactly what vehicle they left in. I mean, this was somebody, in my opinion, this, and because we know that that it's alleged that it was the hammer that did, the blows to the head and the chest. Um, yeah, Wolfie, I'm wondering that this was very personal, and very, very planned out in a sense of knowing her routine, everything about her life, how she operated, to when she'd be inside, to the fact that she wouldn't have her gun on inside, all of that stuff, bizarre. Is It's crazy. And here we are, guys. This happened in 2016. It's 2022. A lot of her kids are. Yep. So Bobby, remember Bobby Wayne Henry? His car fit the description of a SUV, which they claim there has been claims in an affidavit that that was seen leaving the crime scene afterwards. But all of this had to happen. You have to remember, all of this had to happen before um, the campers came. So there was a very brief time from the time that Missy encountered the suspect to the fact of when she had to leave, or when the person had to leave to not be seen by a camper. Like, no one saw them. It's insane. Yeah, Wendy, exactly that. Like, this was somebody that hated her. That's okay, that's right, Wolfie. They don't say how they know that the SUV was leaving, which is what people have said. That's why people, I believe, have said and made the thing, well, law enforcement saw them leaving. They don't say that. They just say, yeah, that they don't, that it's alleged that there was an SUV. But this was definitely somebody that hated her. And I think maybe Wolfie might be onto something with that LinkedIn message, because in my mind, that was a little bit to give her a little bit of a scary. Um, I also think it's bizarre that the camper that showed up was, oh, that's a good point, Wolfie, was a first-time camper. I mean, that's nuts. A first-time camper just happens to show up for the first time and happens to stand outside, allowing more time for the suspect to get away, and um more time before Missy's body is found, because it's also alleged that if the camper had gotten in sooner, Missy might have lived. Again, it's alleged. It's speculation that I don't believe that came from law enforcement, but that is a theory. Because if I'm correct, she wasn't like completely dead when the camper got in there, is from one article I saw, but I don't know. Um, yeah, exactly, Caddy, Texas. I know, Kellyanne. Yeah, Wendy, if I remember correctly from a little bit of this video and from what her sister-in-law said, it, that because they have seen some footage that we haven't, and the husband has as well, but it was almost like the there's something about the suspect made the exact noise at the right time, knowing that she would then come or something. It was really weird about the way that that it was done. But it would have been a really big risk for this security guard or this suspect to do what they did in the time that they did it, while risking that a camper, a veteran camper, could have wandered in. Like, they had to have had a pretty good plan or a lookout person of how they were gonna, in my opinion, of how they were gonna get out to not be seen. Yeah. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Yeah, that's important actually. All right. Hold on. I gotta get it. This is a letter from Missy's mom. I'll read it out here soon, okay? I'll read it to you. But so they had to know, I don't know, doesn't it seem like a very, very risky situation to risk getting caught in that a short amount of time if you didn't have an exact method that you were going to get out so that you wouldn't be seen? I don't know. It's just bizarre. But I don't want to go any further. Exactly, rebellious, exactly. I mean, to a T, they timed it down. It is alleged that people thought that the suspect was off in timing, that Missy was actually later than what she usually was. I think she kind of was, because she typically gets there around 4 o'clock. But if you've ever lived in Texas and you see how people drive in the rain, it's like they drive in a snowstorm. So she might have gotten there a little bit later because of the storm. But I personally I'm sure the law enforcement has looked into this, but I would like to know who the camper that arrived was and what the new camper that arrived was, and if there is any connections way deep to a lover or a scorn, like there's just, I'm sure law enforcement has looked into all that, but it's just very, very creepy. It's very creepy. But this is so much information, but I do want to read to you. So, um, this is from her mother. This is was written on Facebook. This was an open letter to the murderer of her daughter, Missy, um, to her killer. And I'm going to read this because it's a little bit long. It's not super long, but it's a Facebook post. But I, by the time I email, I'll just read it. Okay, right, Kellyanne. That's the thing. That's the thing. I don't know if someone was following her on the way there because we don't know because she passed away. Somebody could have been following her and gave a call. We don't know because we don't know who we don't know who the killer is. And so her records have been checked but I mean, it's just a lot of risk with timing. So, yeah, so this is from her mom. This is letter to the murderer of Missy Bevers. Do you even realize what you have done to her daughters, husband, our whole family? Was it really worth it? Why did you think this was so necessary? You know who you are. Your husband/wife and family members know who you are. Okay. Sorry, I got sidetracked. It's like I'm back in school again and I stopped paying attention. Okay. They know your special walk. Right now, they're as guilty as you are by not coming forward. I honestly pray that you do not have children. My granddaughters at least have the knowledge that their mom was a kind hearted, loving, caring person. You have now ruined your children's life, along with your family's life, by doing this senseless act. Hmm. We can at least visit Missy's gravesite, even though we have the comfort of knowing she's already in heaven. Your family will get to visit you in prison, forever reminded of your crazy, selfish act. What a legacy you have doled out to your family. I will be praying for all of them. I truly feel worse for your family than mine. Please come forward. Give yourself peace. Give our family some peace. Give some honor back to your family. God will forgive you. We will forgive you because we know and you know that what Jesus has commanded us to do. And this is this. Yeah, I know, Nay. So this is letter two, right? That's letter one. That was April 24th, 2016. This is May 7th, 2016. Uh, it's been almost 2 weeks since I wrote the first, this says my second letter to the murder of Missy Bevers. It's been almost 2 weeks since I wrote the first letter to you. Almost 3 weeks since you murdered, oh, no worries, Tia. Since you murdered Missy. I would guarantee your life has been more miserable than ours. Our life has been filled with peace that you wouldn't understand, something only God-fearing, I gotta stop watching this, saved by Jesus person truly understands. We have been blessed by so many wonderful people willing to share our grief by praying with us, preparing meals for the family, and just blessing us with all of their action in so many ways. How about you? Are you feeling all the love from your family and friends? Or do they suspect you, thinking something is not right with you? How did it make you feel when so many people all over this nation said such glowing things about Missy? Wow, she's baiting big time. You probably sat back and thought, how little did they really know her? I assume you were jumping up and down whoa, that's pretty telling. How little do they really know her? I assume you were jumping up and down when the news about her life was not as perfect as a lot of people thought. Oh, thank you, Margaritas. Thanks, Lynn. Did you guys catch some of that? That almost sounds like she's insinuating a scorned wife or something. Okay. Well, let me tell you a little secret you may not comprehend. No, she wasn't perfect. She never can't claim to be. But the secret is there's something called agape love, meaning there really is a love you have that no matter what you have done in the past or present, you still love them. I know her husband does, her 3 girls, her mom, brothers, all her family and friends. Sorry, there is nothing that can ever change that. I'm sure that disappoints you, but it's the truth. Are you getting a bit nervous? Shaking in your boots that look too big? That's huge. Shaking in your boots that look too big. You should be. It's just a matter of time now. Things would be a lot easier on you if you just go ahead and turn yourself in. I'm sure the officials will take that into account. Go ahead and clear your conscience. You will feel better. Hold on, there's more. Are you feeling better? Do they suspect you? How did you make it? Okay, hold on. Go ahead and clear your conscience. You will feel better. No sense in having your family witness you being picked up by the police and leaving that lasting vision on their minds forever. We are all waiting. It's one way or the other. Amber, wow. So I don't know about you all, but mom did that sound to you guys almost like mom was insinuating yeah, and I can I'll post those letters and screenshot. Did that guy sound that mom was in almost insinuating that it was a woman and like kind of a wife, scorned wife or something like that based on to me the shoes that look too big and the I bet you were upset or you were thinking that she didn't did they even really know her that everyone said all these nice things about her? That's crazy. Mom was smart. Mom should be in the FBI. We know very little about her family. It's my dad died from my understanding in 2014. Yep, exactly, Nay. Um, it's my understanding some have alleged that they kept kind of quiet because they were worried if something might happen to them, but we haven't heard much from, and it said that dad was died. Oh yeah, Wendy Whitney. Crazy. They also do say that, and a couple of you said, including Jameson, said last night, all the forensic podiatrists that Tom Webster talked to said it definitely looks like the person is hyperextending their knees when they're walking as well. Is this not so we can't go any further because I will completely overwhelm you guys. But I think now we know the key suspects as far as because they're the key people in it. We've uncovered why they're saying that these people at this point, Nate, I'm wondering about that. Not that I've heard of yet. So I think so too, Kellyanne. So the only reason I thought at first it was somebody that might work at the church or somebody that does security at the church because it has been said by Tom and I read at one other place that it was like the killer knew very well the outskirts of the halls and everything, but not the sanctuary itself. So it was almost like it was somebody who hadn't really spent time in the sanctuary. So whether it was somebody that worked at the coffee shop, there's so many things. I'm a podcast. I listened. Someone went there and opened door. Wow. Wolfie, you have a podcast? Okay, she's 5 too. Possible, Amber. Nate, that's possible too. In a podcast, okay. Amber, yeah, That's a good call because they are now it's kind of like so we're on 6 years. The kids are more grown up now. The kids are grown up. They're still pleading. They still want closure to this. Obviously, the family, her sister-in-law, they all want closure to it. Um, and it is considered. I read it's considered a cold case. However, based on the fact what I see is it's still pretty active in the news as far as it's remembered each year and they say that Ellie is still working on it, and so now it's kind of like revamped where they're like, okay, it's 6 years now. Who is this? Who did it? Um, I personally still have a hard time completely ruling out Bobby, but okay, the Wolfie. I know I was gonna ask you the Wolfie if you want to come up, but I knew you wouldn't. So now, y'all, next part two, and I'm gonna get Tia. I need my collaborators on this one. We're gonna dive into when the killer and her finally came face to face, and we're going to talk about the actual event. We're gonna listen to a little bit of the sister-in-law and what they think happened, and a little bit of kind of that whole how was she found and all that kind of stuff with pictures and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they should hire us, Nay. Just kidding. Wow, Wolfie. And I mean, they've done warrants on all of her stuff, and they've contacted everybody that she allegedly had a relationship with. But at the same time, we, in my opinion, Tara, Tricia, in my opinion, like what if Brandon was and he didn't want to say anything because he didn't want to look like the killer and he didn't want to give law enforcement a reason to think that he would have killed her, or he didn't want to look like a douchebag when his wife just got murdered, but he was having an affair. Uh, I don't know. I can't come up with a motive for a guy to do it unless which is people claim that's what Ellie thinks, but that's not what I've seen. They don't know either way. The only reason I would think maybe it would be a man is if it was somebody who wanted her. Maybe it was somebody that wanted her, that she wanted to work it out with Brandon because they had entered counseling or people had said they were going into counseling to work things out. So how cool would it's going to be super cool though if I'm hoping to get the sister on to talk a little bit. Sister-in-law, if she's up for it. Because nay, because they did say that the family has kind of tried to ramp up like, all right, we want this solved. I know the Wolfie, it's so hard. Caddy, if you find this is gonna sound weird, so I'm a rock collector. If you found like a really pretty rock or something to put next to that would be awesome. So Caddy, Texas gal is close to where this happened. So she's gonna go visit her grave on Sunday or Saturday, and she's also said that when she goes there for a conference, she's gonna go ahead and video kind of where everything was and took place. For us as it is now, which is super cool. And we're so, you know what, the Wolfie, you're right. Thank you so much, Caddy, Texas. I also think that, oh, the Wolfie, I know where you're going with this. Ask it. I also think that, I am with the Wolfie on this, that there's something to that LinkedIn creepy message. Oh, thanks, Caddy. We so appreciate it. I think it will be pretty amazing to see it now. And you all know that I sold payroll service to this church, and I had no idea. I mean, like Kathy Joe said, it's not like they put a sign up that says site of the it happened a month before we moved to Texas. Her husband did remarried about a year after her passing, which I was reading a little bit into it, and I did not realize that's actually not an uncommon thing when it comes to a man. I'm not saying that like terror, but like because it's just not a horribly uncommon thing. Uh, there was also another reason other than his alibi and stuff. They said that he was kind of ruled out, but I'm trying to remember something to just do with the finances and stuff that it wasn't the way people were looking uh were looking at it. They weren't seeing it with the right perspective of what the reason he actually paid off the mortgage and stuff and all that stuff. It really is as great of a case as this is to deep dive into. It is a very tragic case, and that's why like Gumshoe Detective, amazing. Check that site out. And this Tom Webster. That's why some people have literally invested years into research on this case because it was like they took a safe place, the church, when we think, and made it not safe. And in just such a personal, intimate, horrible way to do something to somebody like that. And to have it's just nuts. Yeah, Lynn, it's crazy. But I would like to see it solved because I mean for multiple reasons. But I would really like her family, especially her kids, to have closure, be able to have some closure with knowing that the person that did this is where they should be. Yeah, Kellyanne, I don't know that it's ever been like confirmed that he was cheating. That's just kind of been allegations, but I do remember. I even think his sister-in-law or somebody in his family said that they were actually. Well, I mean, we know that she was still having flirtatious messages, but that they were trying to work things out. But the more I thought about it, is like it could really be anyone that we don't know behind the scenes. Like, what if it was somebody she just happened to meet in a bar or something and was stalking her? But if that was the case, you would think there'd be evidence of communication on the cell. And that's why I think that message from the creepy person on LinkedIn is so um, weird. Or could it be somebody she met? No, because this has to be somebody that knew her every move. Yeah, I was interested in that too. Yeah, that's weird. That's really weird, the Wolfie. But um before I go, so I mean the guy she was just talking to him 40 minutes. Yeah, you never know. I mean, yeah, it could that guy possibly have um another account? You just never know. It is true that the thing that keeps getting it with the guys is the height. I know, Wendy, I know. Quick, will you guys keep chatting and then I'll all right, Brala, thanks for stopping in. Yeah, we're gonna wrap up here soon, but quick update on Kaylee. No new updates. We had thought there was a couple spots to look, so her parents did go look, but no luck there yet. Interestingly enough, there was a girl about a 16-year-old girl on June 19th that disappeared, which is 5 days after Kaylee disappeared, and 16 years old, about an hour away from where the Jones family lives, and they have not been found either. They walked away, and she was like left with friends, and she never came back. So, and those friends made it to their destination. And they don't know, the friends have all checked out and everything, but it's kind of crazy. But all right, guys, well, this was super awesome. Probably Monday, because this weekend is so packed. Yeah, Monday for sure. We will go to part 2, and I'm really excited about that. And I'm gonna have, you know, the other girls up here too. So verse 12. Oh, New Braunfels. Wendy, that's where I got engaged to my husband. We're so happy to have you, Wendy. Thanks to Wolfie. Thank you for bringing this case to my attention. And I know, Kellyanne, it's crazy. I highly recommend Tom Webster's. I'll post his link. Yes, Amber got the tooth out. But I'll post Tom's video because, like I said, this man did hours in research. I just kind of skimmed his because he gets very, very deep into certain things, and I'm just like, okay, I'm bored. Move on. But yeah, this was so much fun. I've been looking forward to this all day. Like, this is a case I'm like, all right, let's solve this. Yeah. All right, guys, be safe out there in the YouTube world and start digging. All right, Wendy, thank you. Um, this is a good one, Brawla. And I was gonna say, if you guys find anything, please email me. If you're like, Parker, you got to look at this, okay? Because remember, we're trying to do this all together, and I do have Tia and all those people. Everybody else is researching like crazy as well. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.